it feels like with the forearm use, okay? So what I'm going to do is we're going to be recorded, so just stand opposite. What I want you to do is feel the fleshy bit there. I want you to just put your hand against that. That's it. Okay. So I'm going to get you all to do this in your pairs. Now, what I want you to start with, so he's just pressing into that nice fleshy wrist flexor area, okay? You need your arms straight like this, Callum. That's it. And just what you're presenting is the soft, fleshy wrist flexor area, okay? So he's just going to push, and now he's going to push against me a little bit, okay? Now what I want to do is just let your wrist go, really nice and loose. That's it. Now just bring your wrist up. That's all you're going to do. If you're not in the same position as me, it won't actually work. So let's just do one at a time.
Okay.
So relax your wrist again, and then bring your wrist into tension. What do you notice? Just cut that a minute. If it's not in the right place, you won't get the sensation. So now what I want you to do, Callum, useful in here. And where it's going to be useful is between the sacrum and the hip joint itself. So we've got what muscles we got here?
Gluteus maximus.
And
Medius.
yes, we've got gluteus maximus. Medius. So what we can do here is literally lean in with the forearms. Okay? All I'm going to do now is use the forearms nice and loosely and just lean. Okay? Do you need anything under your ankles?
Yeah, yes, please.
Yeah, can you get something? I wasn't going to do this yet. Okay. Better? Okay. So I'm going to just lean. You're good at leaning. Yeah. And then all I'm going to do is shift my weight between the left and the right to lean one way and the other. How does that feel, Simon?
That's nice.
Nice?
Yeah.
Okay. Now with some people it's easier to get 2 forearms in there. With other people it's not so easy, so I might just use one. Here's where I'll use it as a lever, and I might lean in a little bit more specifically. And I might use that in and out. Now I'm going to choose to use different parts of my arm, because what I really want to do is to get onto the attachments around that sacral area, right? Around the ilium. And so notice the hand underneath, because that's going to help me be really specific about where I'm going to go. And I'm just going to literally use the pressure in those areas. How's that feel?
That's good.
Enough? Too much?
That's about right.
About right. Now, how can I soften that more from what I'm doing? Tell me, how can I soften it? Okay, I can take the pressure off, so I can stop leaning in so much. So how am I going to put pressure on? I lean in more. How do I take pressure off? I lean out a little bit more. So it's all about the body use here. Leaning in, taking the pressure off, leaning out. How else can I soften that? Use more of my forearm. Absolutely. So I can give more space on my forearm. So it's a bit like that stiletto and platform idea again. So this is more like a platform shoe now. So I've got much more of the forearm in contact with the buttock. How can I make it more intense?
Full elbow.
So, right, so I can use less forearm, and I can either just use the pressure there. Now I know that's a little bit tight in there, so I'm going to go easy on it. You all right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. But if I want to be really specific, I bring the elbow up. Okay? What have we got now? A lot of pressure. Yeah? And what's the other hand doing here?
Guiding.
guiding and supporting, and we can go right up into a point. How you doing with that, Simon?
That's okay.
Just?
Yes.
Okay. The other thing with this, it's just okay, but I can just move my hand around and get even more work in there. So I'm using this really specifically now. So we can go into areas like the piriformis. So I'm going to feel, can you see how I'm using my elbow to actually feel where it's tight? And you can see that as I go over, can't you? So again, same thing, I can use the flat, or I can begin to come up into more of a point, always checking out with him how am I doing?
That's okay.
Just okay. And I'm going to move it around. How's that?
Quite tender.
Yeah. Okay. So, how'd you doing with that? All right. So you can use your forearm around the buttock area really successfully, wherever you want to go. We can start with the two, just leaning in and rocking from side to side. And then we're going to start working with just one, leaning into it, feeling where the tension areas are, being very, very careful with awareness. And if you find some tight bits, by all means try. But try with awareness. I'm right on a point there. Am I not, Simon?
Yeah, that's okay. Today.
Okay. All right.
How do you feel the points with your...
Practice. But to be honest with you, it's a lot easier than you think. I mean, you could actually see, couldn't you, as I'm going over the tissue, you can see where it's a ridge. I can feel that. I can feel it's a ridge. You could feel it very easily with your fingers. We've done some work with the knuckles. You can feel it. But now we're just going to use the forearm very specifically. Another area to use it quite nicely in is around the hip. And another area is round on the lower back as well. But all with great awareness. Once you get, the buttock is going to be a good area for you to practice this, but once you get good with using a forearm, you can use the forearm and use the elbow much more specifically in those erector spinae areas. Why would I use my hand in this way?
Dangerous for the spine.
Hey?
The spine.
So what am I doing by using this?
Stop it.
Yeah, absolutely. So again, when you're kind of used to using a forearm, you get really used to knowing where it's likely to slip and where it's not. But when you begin, you really need to practice that. And I generally would use the other hand as a guide.